Well, as I always say, Mondays are usually the most boring day starting the week. So, if you guys are big fans of the Japanese wrestling scene, you guys are always on the right channel. So, today we're going to be doing three reviews. One from, of course, Stardom with the Queens Dynasty, their latest and much recent big show they have, of course. This one features a double main event. The Wonder of Stardom Championship. Hana makes her first title defense against the person who betrayed her, of course, and that is B. Priestley. And then the main event, Sayaka Kurara, as you know, who became the new World of Stardom champion, makes her first, of course, title defense against Maki Ito, who is determined to, of course, make a name for herself and to destroy the Cosmic Angels. But the real question is, can these ladies, of course, survive their first title defense? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. And then, of course, we move on with day 6 and day 7 of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Best of the Super Juniors. Now, day 6 has a bit of a weird, how do I say, booking. Majority of their matches are part of the B block matches, but there's only one match part of the A block, so that's on day 6, and we'll get to that. And then, of course, we have day 7. Mostly we're going to focus on the A block matches only. So we're going to focus on each of the blocks on both days. And then, of course, as always, we'll wrap up our episode as usual with some news updates. Give you guys updates what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Anywhere pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about it. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information is unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do some real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough of the jibber jabbers, let's get to it. So, let's begin with Stardom, Queens Dynasty. Okay, Stardom, Queens Dynasty. This is their much recent show that happened this past Saturday. Let's begin with two of their pre-show matches. The first one's a three-way. We have Maitoi Hamabe versus Rian versus Waka Tsukiyama. Now, obviously, nothing too special about this, but however, we want to make a note here. Rian and Waka, well, as you know, they used to be members of EXV and tag partners are in tag league, so that kind of sets it up. But however, of course, Rian has no problems to throw down against her former teammate, of course, and That's pretty much what we do know. But however, you probably ask yourselves who's going to walk out. Now, we have seen the growth of Rianne many times, but unfortunately, Waka was the one who picked up the win um, onto Rianne with the Northern Light suplex, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And then we have a bit of a, of course, God's Eye showdown. Kyoka Kotatsu, and of course the leader of God's Eye, Shuri, our current IWGP Women's Champion. So obviously, you probably can guess this was going to be fantastic because we do know these ladies do have backgrounds in martial arts. They do have expertise in technical wrestling, that sort of thing. And that tells us pretty much. But however, when it comes to someone like Shuri, you know she's unmatched. And she was able to do so by putting Kotatsu in a submission, and just like that, she tapped out. Shuri picked up the win. Now, we jumping into the main card of the matches. We started out with tag team action. We have the members of Hate, more specifically, one half of our former Goddesses of Stardom tag champions, Raka, and our former Red Belt champion, Sayaka Mitani. They take on a very interesting team up, Fuwa-chan and Sayori Anu. Now, you probably ask yourselves, didn't these two ladies had a recent showdown in the All-Star Queendom, All-Star Dream Queendom? Yeah, I mean, they did. But Sayori Anu respects her, not because, oh, she beats her. She respects her because she saw, yes, she put in the work. People have criticized Fuwa-chan, like, yeah, she's not going to do it. But that's the thing. Sayori Anu is willing to admit, yes, I lost. But that's besides the point. I wasn't facing someone who I thought was going to be a slouch. But, however, she admits that she put on the work. And I think that's a good thing for Sayori Anu to know, realizing, yes, she may be a YouTuber. She's maybe someone who's playing wrestler, but she put in the work. But however, she's also became like a reliable partner for Sayori Anu, despite that she gets a bit carried away and a bit overconfident. But unfortunately, she ended up being on the wrong side of the Star Crusher by Kamitani. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. And of course, well, Fuwa-chan has a tendency to pick a fight, and seems like she wanted to pick a fight with Kamitani, but, Kamitani's not going to take that kindly, one way or another. Our next match, we have Xena versus Hanako versus Saya Ida. Now, another note here, Xena and Hamako, former members of EXP. Of course, once again, like the pre-show match, there's no storylines, but of course, Xena and Hanako, no problems tearing each other apart because their primary focus is to win this match. But of course, the winner of this match was none other than Saya Ida, who pinned Xena, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Excuse me. Now, next up, we have a number 1 contendership for the Artists of Stardom Championships, which is the trio belt, of course, currently being held by the members of Hate, Fukigen Death, Hina, and Konami. Now, 3 teams have, of course, stepped up, saying they want to have a crack at it. We have Midita Loka, consisting of Akira Kurigani, Izuki Aoki, and Rina Yamashita. And then, of course, we have God's Eye, consistent of Lady C, Hina, and Ami Suri. And then finally, Cosmic Angels, Yuna Mizumori, Aya Sakura, and Natsupoi. So basically, it's about who's going to be the next persons to face off against Hate. Now, this particular match will happen later on, of course. Or should I say, it's going to happen soon, and that kind of goes on around. But the match was pretty good, but it gets chaotic due to the fact there's 3 teams, basically 9 wrestlers in the same ring. But however, it was in fact like a bolt by Ami Suri to put away, of course, Aya Sakura, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, that's pretty much it. They get a crack at Hate in the upcoming Korakuen Hall, and I think that is going to be that's going to be on the 26th of May. So yeah, can't wait to see that. Now, originally we were supposed to have the Goddesses of Stardom Championships defended. O2 Line, as you know, who recently won these belts at the All-Star Grand Queendom, Unfortunately, Miyu Amasaki was not in good condition. She was due to poor health, but however, it's not. She wasn't injured, guys. She wasn't feeling too well. So the match couldn't have a title match, but they did have a match. So Azumi had Emma Maishima as her tag partner, while they face, of course, FWC, Koguma and Azuki. And I thought it was a pretty good match. I'm not gonna lie, it was really fun, despite that it should have been a title match, but it didn't. But unfortunately, Maishima ended up on the wrong side of the senton by Azuki, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And then, of course, we did see a post-match promo with Azumi talking to both Koguma and Azuki. I'm sure they're anxious to have their title match, but once, of course, Amasaki returns, that's when things will change. However, another surprising came in. Azumi seems like she wants to have Maishima to join Neo's Genesis as the latest new member. I mean, it's been a while, but I was a bit adamant, wondering why. Because here's the thing, guys: all members of Neo Genesis are part of the same generation. I don't know if Emma Maishima falls into that category with them in the same generation, but maybe they made some leeway because they need to expand, perhaps. But hopefully that becomes clear. But that's pretty much what happened. Now, our next title match is the future of Stardom Championship. Rana Yagami makes another defense against, of course, the runner-up of the Rookie of Stardom tournament, Kikyo Furuzawa, and she gets her chance on this one too. I mean, Furuzawa, I'm not gonna lie, she does have some great technical aspects. There's a lot of high hopes, I believe, in her. When I first saw her, but unfortunately, it was Rana Yagami who has more experience than her, not to mention that was able to put her in a submission and force her to tap out. Just like that, it was completely over. Now, we do have another number one contendership, and this one is for the World of Stardom Championship. We have Natsuko Tora versus Maika versus Suzuki versus Starlight Kid. Now, this whole thing began after, of course, Kurara defeated Kamitani. Zuzu is a bit adamant about, Kurara winning the belt, And of course, the woodworks were coming in. Natsuko Tora's like, oh, hell no, bitch. I'm not going to allow you to take that belt. So that's the whole thing. And of course, Maika wants a piece of the action, so is Starlight Kid. Starlight Kid, as you know, is still aiming for this belt. And that's exactly what she wants to do. But the real question, who's going to walk out as the winner? I mean, look, when it comes to Natsuko Tora, we know she can use whatever tricks up her sleeves. I mean, using weapons, the mist, having the members of Hate interfere, whatever, they do so. Maika, a very strong, capable person. I'm sure she's determined to win, of course. Zuzu, I'm sure she's still trying to aim to be the face of pro wrestling. Starlight Kid, to become the face of Stardom. So, but however, in the end, it was Suzuki that picked up the win when she applied a German suplex, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. So she'll be facing the winner of the main event. Now, our next match, of course, is the Wonder of Stardom Championship, B. Priestley versus Hanan. Now, you saw what happened at the All-Star Grand Prix. Hanan defeated Konami, but the travesty happened right during the ceremony when Hanan was betrayed by B. Priestley. And many people often wondered, was this part of the plan? I mean, we know Hate has been using long-term plans in order to disorient their teams. I mean, look what they did with Konami. Konami betrayed Shooty, and that's the same thing. But Hanan, of course, now decided to face B. Priestley, but B. Priestley made it clear, oh, I'm going to ruin your little dream because you're nothing more than just a lower level. Like, she thinks that this is just a one-hit wonder type of thing, and Hanan is determined to do so. And man, Hanan really went to the extreme in whatever she had to do to defeat her, and that's exactly what she did. So instead of using her usual arsenal, like the Hanan special or the 17, she used the backdrop driver, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, during the post-match promo, Hanan, of course, nominated her own teammate and tag partner, of course, Saya Ida, as her next opponent. Now, it's no secret that Saya Ida has challenged for this belt before, so now she gets an opportunity. So we'll see what happens from there. Now, our main event is the World of Stardom Championship. Sayaka Kurara makes her first title defense against Maki Ito. Now, let's talk a bit about how this week came about. As you know, since Maki Ito first arrived, she's been making a name for herself, but however, she's been attacked left and right, not physically, but more like verbally by people who have a problem with her. Aya Sakura from Cosmic Angels, and of course, Kurara's tag partner, Natsupoi, of course. And now she's aiming for Kurara. Now, she called Kurara during her post match promo at the All Star uh, Grand Queendom the mastermind of the Cosmic Angels. Now, of course, she's not the mastermind, but she keeps continuing to call, of course, the Cosmic Angels a heel group, which, of course, Kurara said that that's not true, so she's determined to put her in her place. And man, Kurara really put up a hell of a fight. I mean, she knew that she's facing someone who has better experience than her. And not to mention, she tried multiple Tokimeki spears onto her in hopes to win. And then when she finally had that opportunity to try again, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she retained the belt. But however, during the post-match promo, she had to, of course, confront Suzuki, who, of course, Zuzu told her that she didn't earn that title because of her feelings or anything. So she's accusing her that title was never meant for her. So, but of course, Kurara's not going to walk away from a challenge, knowing too well that people can say what they want about her, but she's willing to defend it, and that's exactly where we're going to go. So the next story, her versus Zuzu. So we'll see how things will go on. So we'll end things here. Let's move on with day 6 of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Best of the Super Juniors. Okay, we're now in day 6 of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Best of the Super Junior. Now, I did mention earlier this was a little bit of a weird booking for me because majority of the bookings on this one features the matches from Block B. However, there is one match with the Block A. So let's get to that one instead. Now, the match features Valiente versus Jun Kasai. Now, of course, when it comes to Jun Kasai, many of you who know who he is, those who don't, Jun Kasai is, of course, is a well-recognized hardcore slash ultraviolet slash deathmatch wrestler. He has done incredible matches, but he is capable of anything. But the one thing you to be more careful with him, he will bring in all the plunder into the ring, and the ref will try to be a bit more discreet. And I'm sure Valiente had no idea what he was getting himself into. But, however, he was able to survive this one by pinning Jun Kasai. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, Valiente picked up his next 2 points, rounding up to the total of 4, leaving Jun Kasai with a total points of 6. Now, let's jump into all the remaining matches of B block. We have Hion versus Kushida. Now, nothing too special about this one, but it was going to be a pretty good match. Not going to lie, I mean, Kushida, we know him as one of the best junior heavyweight competitors in New Japan, and he gets the job done. But however, Hion was able to apply a cutter off the mid rope, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, he pinned Kushida, giving him his next 2 points with the total points 4, leaving Kushida with the total points 4 as well. Now, our next match, we have Jacob Austin Young of the United Empire taking on DDT's very own Daisuke Sasaki. Now, of course, when it comes to Sasaki, he is another guy that will do whatever it takes to win, even if he has to use weapons. But however, he should have known better. He should have had someone from Damnation PTA to back him up, because Jacob Austin Young had Zane J to help him out during the distraction. Of course, Jacob Austin Young picked up the win. We applied by dust. 1, 2, 3. He picked up his next 2 points with the total points of 4, leaving Sasaki with only 6. Now, our next match, we have Yoshinobu Kanemaru versus Taiji Shimori. Obviously, these guys known each other probably very well, because if those who may not remember, these two guys didn't start out in New Japan from the very beginning. They started out in Noah, of course. But what's also funny is that Kanemaru tried to offer the referee some whiskey. I'm sure the ref's like, I'm on the job, that sort of thing. But of course, we knew that Kanemaru was going to try to pull some dirty tricks. But however, it was Taiji Shimori that walked away with the win when he applied the ghetto clutch. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, he got his next 2 points, rounding up to 6 points, leaving Kanemaru with 4. Now, our next match, well, these guys, they know each other too well, of course, because they faced off each other. And we're talking about Sho, who thinks he is the best. No, he's just a punk who hides like a coward, using weapons and other people. And of course, effing Dick Togo attacked Despy from behind, thinking this is going to be a working progress, but it failed miserably because, unfortunately, Sho, you're not tough. You're just a wussy. You ended up being in the wrong side of numero dos, and just like that, you had tapped out, you dumb loser. That's what you are. So, this leaves, of course, with El Desperado with the round points of 6 points. Same thing with Sho. However, Sho, well, this is the second time he lost because he thought he was going to be undefeated. Nope. Sorry. Loser. Now, our main event. These guys know themselves way too well as former members of Chaos, Robbie Eagles and Yo. So those who don't remember, Robbie Eagles used to be a member of Chaos until he defected to TMDK. And of course, Robbie Eagles has been aware of Yo's behavior, how he's been acting up. And of course, he's not here to play games. He's here to win, and that's exactly what he did. And Robbie Eagles put up his game face on this one, but it took him with, I don't know if it's a shining wizard, but it seems like it. And just like that, it did the job. 1, 2, 3. He picked up his next 2 points, rounding up to 4, leaving Yo with just only 6. So it was a pretty good event. Can't wait to see what's going to happen. So we're going to wrap up our reviews with our last review here, which is day 7 of more of the best of the Super Juniors by New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, final review, day 7 of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Best of the Super Junior in Kyoto at the Kyoto KBS Hall. Of course, it's that famous venue. Now, all matches, of course, we're going to focus on is the B block of the Best of the Super Juniors. First, we have Daiki Nagai versus Francisco Akira, but of course, Daiki Nagai, I have to say, he really, really put up a hell of an A game on this one. But of course, Zane J decided to get into his head, because many of you may remember during the Lion Cup tournament, Zane J whacked him with the chair. But thank God Daiki Nagai took care of him and, of course, sent him packing. But however, of course, Francisco Akira told him, that he's nothing but a pure loser. But man, it was more like Daiki Nagai spit in his face, telling him F you, that sort of thing. It shows a lot of balls right there from the guy. But of course, Francisco Akira took him out with the fireball, gaining himself with his neck. He got him with the fireball. 1, 2, 3. It was over. He now has a total points of 6. The guy is still in the bottom with 0. Now, I'm most likely going to say that maybe the guy is not going to make it all the way through the tournament, but he may be able to pick up at least 1 win if that's the possibility. But we'll see. Our next match, we have Valiente versus Master Wato. Obviously, many of you don't know this. Master Wato spent his excursion in CML. So he probably would know exactly what Valiente is going to do. And it was a pretty good match. But, however, it was Master Wato with the Suten Katu, which is a German suplex. And just like that, 1, 2, 3. It was over. Master Wato right now has the total points of 8, leaving, of course, Valiente with just 4. Next up, we have Ryusuke Taguchi taking on Kota Fujita. Now, of course, this became like a battle of the hair, and all that. And there was a lot of chasing around in the back. I mean, you see Taguchi chasing Fujita, then Fujita chasing Taguchi. I don't know what the hell was this. It's more like Tom and Jerry, that sort of thing. But of course, it was Kota Fujita picked up the win by a pinfall, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. That leaves Kota Fujita with a total points of 6, leaving, of course, Taguchi, which only total points of 6. Next up, we have Robbie X versus Teton. Of course, this is like a bit of an unbound showdown, and I thought this match was unbelievably good. And I think many of us did not expect the outcome, how this was going to end up, because many of you may remember I mentioned Teton was undefeated in this whole thing. Well, Robbie X was the one who ended his undefeated streak right here when he applied the Axis press, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. That leaves, of course, with him with total points of 6, leaving Teton with 10. However, he is still at the top of the tournament, of course. Our main event, this one was a very interesting one. Jun Kasai versus Nick Wayne. Now, of course, Nick Wayne had no idea what he got himself into, and I thought the match was fantastic. We did see Jun Kasai use chairs. He even brought the skewers. But in the end, it was, of course, a pile driver by Jun Kasai that picked up the win, getting total points of 8, leaving, of course, Nick Wayne with 6. However, the post-match promo was very interesting. And let me pull it up because I actually got the transcript on this one. Let's see, come on. This is what he said. Just a second, Nick. You're 20, right? I'm 52 this year. I'm old enough to be your dad, but I'm here beating the crap out of you. I see nothing wrong with that. If you're 20 or 51, it doesn't matter. As of today, I have a new rival in you, Nick. Thank you. One more thing. My son is older than you, but he just made his debut last year. I just think you could have one hell of a match with you. So yeah, basically, Jun Kasai has found new respect for Nick Wayne. Saw how talented he is, and even Nick Wayne felt like Jun Kasai did him a favor, like telling him, that bring in everything that he never experienced, and this would be a good thing for him. And I think that it should, because Nick Wayne, he's 20 years old, he's learning some things that he's never done before. And I would love to see him face Jun Kasai's eldest son. If he is at the same age as him, then why not? Let's see it. So I think that's pretty much it right now for everything. We're done with the reviews. Let's move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's begin, as always, with upcoming events. As you know, Tokyo Super Wrestling will have their next big show, Summer Princess, that will happen on the 18th of July in Corkin Hall. They just announced Aja Kong will be participating on this one. As you know, we do have the collaboration with West Coast Pro and PrideStyle with their upcoming event called Rooted that will take place on the 25th of July. They just announced Alpha Zoe versus Oceano Every. And then finally, of course, produced by Orange Crush with their latest event that would happen in August, on August 3rd. Volume 3 Asuka, they just announced Joshua Bishop will be participating. So that's pretty much it for upcoming events. Now here are some developments. First, I'll start out with two things that happened in the media scrum. Tony Khan was asked during that on the AW media scrum after Double or Nothing. Tony Khan was asked two different questions, and two of them were interesting enough for me to pull out. Someone asked him about Rebel, if plans for fans that can donate towards Rebel's cause of following up her ALC diagnosis, and Tony Khan mentioned that AEW is set to release some rubber brackets, but there are discussions to make this year's Fight for the Fallen a charity show dedicated to ALSC effort. And I think this is a pretty good thing. I mean, that's something that they should do. I mean, if you guys remember that when they did the first Fight for the Fallen, it was about the victims who were taken out by gun violence, and that's something, of course, that was important, you know. But he also was asked about having the brawl in the ballpark, to have few matches given the length of a baseball uh, game beforehand, and he was saying, Minnesota Twins is a special relationship for me. My friend Daniel Adler, who worked for the Jaguars for many years, he's at Twins, and that's brought up this idea up to me of bringing AEW to the game and having wrestling matches at the ballpark. So it will be a ballpark, and there will be having matches, probably giving the length of the baseball game. It will also be something short like activation, few matches. It will be something really fun, and it will be our first time doing something like this. But after having an amazing Fairway to Hell event, I'm looking forward to Brawl in the ballpark. So yeah, so that's pretty much what we've been here. I can't wait to see what else is gonna do. Now, someone brought up this very interesting fact that we did not know. Many of you may remember that Katsuyori Shibata was an instructor at the LA Dojo. And he was talking about, of course, his students who just went evil. Here's who he talked about. Kevin Knight. Obviously, we saw what happened at Double or Nothing. He's now evil. Clark Connors. Evil. Alex Coughlin. He retired, but he was also evil before that. Ren Narita. Evil. Gabe Kidd. Evil. The TAC was evil, but doesn't wrestle that much anymore. So and this guy said, what the F was Shibata's teaching them? That's a very good question. I mean, yes, Kevin Knight was the last of Shibata's class that was able to turn evil. That's the thing that kind of got out. So I don't know what's going to happen. Now, an interesting development has came around. Many of you know I mentioned about Big Bill. His contract with AEW will end either the end of this month or early June. Fightful Select reports this, saying that some promoters are being told that Enzo Amore is not taking bookings in the future. That will be a regular taking. The promoters are operating under the assumption that he is headed to WWE. Fightful Select reported that Big Bill's AEW contract was set to expire in May or early June, and that remains the case as far as we know. So basically, that is what's going on. Now, we know that Enzo was released due to his behavior and all that, and Big Cass followed too because we know he had issues. We don't know if WWE are planning to bring in wrestlers who they fired from a couple of years ago and bring them back, because we know that Big Bill has been bringing success into AEW, and I'm sure that WWE would like to bring some of that success with him. But we don't know. We'll just see what happens. Like I said, I did report it. The Big Bill, or formerly known as Big Cass, will be there. His contract with AEW will expire by the end of this month or early June. So we'll see how things go. As for Enzo, I was not aware of what's been going on with him. Just to let you guys know. So as of right now, we'll end things here, and let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we have NXT, so I can't wait to review that. However, as soon as this was over, I am been aware that Stardom has their next show in Corkin Hall. This one I can't wait to see. This one is free on YouTube in case anybody wants to see it. I am also considering possibly watching the Hana Kimura Memorial Show that happened also on the 23rd, as the same day, of course, from the Queens Dynasty that took place with Stardom. So I might do those. We'll see how things will time for me. But as of right now, we'll leave things as it is, and we'll see how things will play out for me. So until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day.